Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, the biggest problem in America's biggest cities right now, it isn't just the crime. No, it's who's holding the power. Too often, it's not law-abiding citizens, it's not families, workers, and business owners who are holding the power. It's the gangs that are running these neighborhoods. It's the gangs that are preying on the people, the law-abiding citizens, the good people of these neighborhoods. And essentially, these few bad outliers are keeping the entire community down. And that's really where my point of frustration is aimed at. But more specifically, it's the politicians who, through their endless, naive bullcrap, are essentially enabling the gangs and the gangsters and the criminals, the people who are preying on these communities, as they fundraise on the issues of said community, as they virtue signal about their care and compassion, when in reality, what they're actually doing, the results of their actions and policies, are playing against the good people's interests, and into the interest of the worst amongst us. The people who are predators, who view other human beings as prey. That is the biggest issue. It's the wrong focus. It's this disgusting manipulation. And I got a clip to show you guys, which I really think is going to help me make this point. You know, what I described in the intro here, that's how you get the insanity that we're about to cover. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so we've got this video going viral as Donald Trump is promising a crime crackdown in Chicago. We've now, I guess, got an official street response, yo. In Chicago, some pathetic 2-bit thug recorded himself essentially threatening the president and the National Guard. He's making the claim that if the Guard shows up in Chicago, the gangs are going to declare war on them. They're going to come in 100,000 deep with their Glocks and switches. You know, just your typical low-life, dirtbag, scumbag criminal stuff. I swear there's nothing more pathetic than a 2-bit street thug. You know, these guys that flash like $300 on Instagram thinking they're the business. They're the most pathetic, frankly, effeminate clowns in our society. Anyways, look at this.
Trump, do not send the National Guard to Chicago, gang. Do not, I repeat, do not do it. We are a different breed out here, nigga. We are not Los Angeles. We are not Washington, D.C. This is Chicago. Them go fight back. I'm telling you, them go fight back, gang. Whatever, I don't give a what you talking about. Them young got switches, gang. They not going for that, bro. I know a bunch of y'all finna say, oh, it's the National Guard. They can't do anything about it. They must go in Chicago. Do y'all know that it's more bad people than good people, bro? There are over 100,000 gangs in Chicago by the city by itself.
Exactly like I stated, absolute clown behavior. And now, of course, I guess this guy was expecting, which I'm sure he's getting to a certain extent, a bunch of people rallying. Oh yeah, let's side with the gangs in Chicago against the US government. Complete friggin' idiocy. But while there's the extreme minority of cringe people who can't put things into basic perspective, the majority of the internet had the right response. Like this based woman over here that's laughing in this guy's face.
What I'm noticing on the internet right now is there's a lot of there's black men talking about they ready for the National Guard to come in. They got switches. They got over 100,000 gangs. Chicago is ready. And I'm like, you think your black is really ready for the U.S. Armed Forces and the National Guard? Are you for real? Your 2-block range is not gonna go against my who have night vision goggles and tanks and drones, you idiot. Okay, these men are trained to shoot a fly's wings from 800 yards away. Do you know what you're asking for? Do you understand? I don't think you do. This is really not funny, but I'm so embarrassed. These men are used to training in jungles, in the mountains, deserts you ain't never seen before. And here you are hiding behind a liquor store with your rusty 9mm. Bro, I need you to get off the internet.
She said it best. I mean, these clowns think that they could take on the United States military. Give me a frickin' break. The idea that these gangs think they stand a chance against the National Guard is laughable, but it does show you just how cocky and emboldened these criminals have become. That's what I was alluding to, or the point that I was trying to make in the intro. I think that clip really puts it into clear, sober perspective, and it's probably time we start thinking about this threat seriously. You know, behind the politics, behind the Democrat clown show, and the 2-bit thug clown show, Chicago neighborhoods have been allowed to fall into utter chaos. You know, the left argues endlessly that police presence is bad for the black community, that it's racist to over-police certain neighborhoods. But you guys have all seen the clips. If you actually go on the ground and talk to the people who live there, and not the thugs, but the people who are trying to live good, honest lives, if you listen to those who are trying to do things the right way, you hear the exact opposite time and time again, just like the polls that we covered in DC. The last thing people want is less police presence. What people really want is safety. They want more presence.
I'm just ecstatic. I've been saying that a long time ago. The federal government should take over the DC Police Department.
With the mayor being in power so long, I think she's kind of used to how things are going, and I think Donald Trump really wants to clean it up. And I'm all for it.
You got so many good, kind, hardworking people who want to live in these communities without fear of gangs and shootings and constant extortion. And like I always say, those are the people who should be prioritized. Those are the people who politicians should not only be speaking to, but should be acting on the behalf of. And you know, maybe, just maybe, it's time to get a little bit of courage and start acting, start doing something. And you know what? Maybe that means going all the way to National Guard occupation of these neighborhoods. We're already seeing what happens if it's done effectively and properly in DC. Honestly, I mean, the social experiment currently going on in DC right now is something fascinating to behold. I guess this is what happens when you don't have Democrat corruption at every frickin' level in governance. DC is very unique in the sense that the president can basically assume full-on control constitutionally, which is what he's done. And now look at the results. I mean, crime is dropping precipitously. The idea that war on crime doesn't work, well, maybe it just doesn't work if Democrats are standing in the way, because it certainly seems to be working in Washington, D.C.
Hi, everyone. It is Monday, September 8th. Here I am in D.C. again, and we continue with President Trump's surge to make D.C. safe and beautiful again. Last night, 72 arrests. Interesting, only one gun seized last night. I think that's kind of interesting. Maybe you think there are fewer guns on the street, having taken 214 guns off the street already in this surge and a total of 2,120 arrests. That's the whole point. And day by day, DC is getting safer. And for all those cities that think like, oh, it's going to be a terrible thing if President Trump comes in, forget it. It's safer. The people in the city love it. And as far as I'm concerned, give me more defendants to prosecute, get me more criminals that I can take off the street, and you'll live a better life. Thanks to President Trump.
That's what I call results. You know, you got these Democrats constantly talking about these guns on the streets. Well, that focus, again, should not be on law-abiding citizens, but rather on the illegal firearms. They are arresting people en masse and taking criminals off the streets, and it's having a tremendous impact on public safety. It's working. And you know, there's all this talk about, oh, it's an occupation, it's oppression. And I'm sure they would say the same thing if we saw maybe, you know, a little bit of occupation of the National Guard in places like South Chicago, maybe checkpoints across these neighborhoods, Humvees parked at the corners with National Guardsmen on guard. The left would call this oppression, but frankly, if you think about it, if you're viewing it from the law-abiding citizens' perspective, people who deserve to live in a safe community, it's not oppression. Frankly, I think it could be viewed as liberation. The people who are suffering in these neighborhoods aren't the gangsters, the guys complaining about getting stopped and frisked because they don't like the fact that police officers have the ability to find their crack stashes and their freaking 9mm shoved in their pants. No, the people suffering are the moms, the kids, the workers, the elderly, the business owners, which are few and far between in these neighborhoods because everybody is living in fear. You got gangs running the streets. You can't even really get involved in real estate in these areas because half the real estate is controlled by gangs. They're drug dens. They're stash houses. You can't engage in business because there's extortion rackets. You got gangsters coming in demanding money or just robbing you blind. You know, it also makes the upfront cost of starting a business a whole lot more difficult because you need to think about all these security measures. You need bulletproof glass and cameras and this, that, and the other. Not to mention just the fear of having to fight for your own life. People coming in and pointing a gun at your damn face as you're working the register. It's insane. It is completely insane. And there's always this talk of, oh, well, you know, it's the ghetto. No, it's not. Fundamentally, these neighborhoods are not the ghetto. They have maintenance problem and crime problem. A lot of the times, these neighborhoods are historic. They have history and charm, and they're full of potential. A lot of these historic neighborhoods, I mean, go to Detroit and whatnot, these are places where a lot of immigrants set up post-industrial revolution. They used to be thriving suburbs where people raised families, and they should still be like that, but instead they're not because criminals are holding these entire communities hostage. businesses can't thrive. People are dependent on government handouts instead of being productive. And so if you have a community like that, what do you think's going to happen? It's going to end up disheveled. It's going to deteriorate. Enough of the empty platitudes and rhetoric and divisive racial narratives. And how about some action? How about doing something for the people who need it? How about setting a freaking standard that we will no longer tolerate extreme crime, terroristic threats? Again, to put things into perspective, we've got gangs with illegal firearms operating almost like militias now threatening the National Guard. This isn't Brazil with favelas that are no-go zones for police officers. We simply shouldn't accept it, and the Democrats' stance is that you should accept it. Frankly, I think they love it because it allows them to continue on with their grievance politics and empty promises, their constant scam fundraising, but it's time to put an end to it. An end to the violence, the corruption, the extortion. These neighborhoods deserve justice. What's referred to as a ghetto in America is no slum. These should be thriving neighborhoods with shops, retail, restaurants. But instead, you drive by and you see Martin Luther King Jr. Street and you start shitting your damn pants. Let's be frickin' real. It shouldn't be like that. And stating that doesn't make you a racist. It makes you a person with basic common sense and human decency. And the fact that Democrats have flipped that, they've perverted it, they've twisted it to that degree, well, it's frankly disgusting. Anyways, enough ranting like a maniac. That's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.